The evening settled over the small Iowa town like a familiar blanket. Gas lamps cast a soft, yellow glow on the main street, their light barely reaching the quiet residential roads where families were winding down their day. On one of these streets, a family of 6 was returning home from the evening church service. The father, a sturdy man with calloused hands from his work at the local hardware store, walked ahead, his footsteps steady on the dirt path. His wife followed close behind, shepherding their 4 children, their ages ranging from 12 down to 5. The air was cool for a June night, and the children's laughter was a sharp, happy sound in the stillness. Their house was a simple 2-story frame building, painted white, with a small porch and a neat yard. It was indistinguishable from the other houses on the block, a testament to the quiet, orderly life of the community. As the father unlocked the front door, he paused for a moment. Etohatedi left the porch light burning, a small kerosene lamp they kept by the window, but it was dark. He dismissed it. His wife must have put it out before they left. Inside, the house was silent. The familiar sense of baked bread and wood smoke hung in the air. The children, their earlier energy now spent, trudged upstairs to their shared bedrooms. The mother began her nightly routine, checking the locks, tidying the small living room. The father sat in his armchair, the newspaper open on his lap, though his eyes weren't reading the words. There was a draft, a faint, cool breeze that seemed to curl around the edges of the room. He got up and checked the window. It was latched tight. He checked the back door, bolted, just as he'd left it. He chalked it up to the old house settling, the way it always did. Later, as his wife finished her tasks, she noticed the floral-patterned dish towel she always kept folded neatly on the kitchen counter was draped over the back of a dining chair. Strange. She was meticulous about her kitchen. She never left things out of place. She folded it and put it back in its spot, a small, nagging feeling of wrongness settling in her stomach. She looked around the dimly lit room. Everything else seemed to be in its proper place. The clock on the mantelpiece ticked its steady rhythm. Upstairs, the children were quiet. She listened for a moment, hearing only the soft breathing of a house asleep. The feeling passed. It was late. She was just tired. The parents went to bed. The house fell into a deeper silence, the kind of absolute quiet that only comes to a small town in the dead of night. But the silence felt different tonight. It felt heavy, watchful. Outside, the moon was hidden behind a thick blanket of clouds, plunging the street into near total darkness. A neighbor, sleepless, with a summer cold, looked out his window and saw that all the windows of his neighbor's house were dark. But he also noticed something else. The thin curtains in the upstairs children's bedroom, the ones that always fluttered with the slightest breeze, were perfectly still. The windows were shut. They always left them cracked open on warm nights. He watched for a few minutes, a prickle of unease on his neck. He saw nothing, heard nothing. He went back to bed, telling himself he was imagining things. The next morning, the sun rose on a perfectly normal day. Birds sang. A milk wagon rattled down the street. But one house remained silent. The father was always up before sunrise to open the store. His children were usually playing in the yard by 7, but the doors remained shut, the windows curtained and dark. By mid-morning, the neighbors grew concerned. A man who worked with the father walked over and knocked on the front door. There was no answer. He knocked again, louder this time. The silence from within the house was profound. He tried the knob. It was unlocked. He pushed the door open a few inches and called their names. The air that drifted out was cold, stale. He and another neighbor stepped inside. The house was unnaturally tidy. The living room was pristine. In the kitchen, the remnants of the previous night's supper were cleared away, the dishes washed and stacked. There was no sign of a struggle, no overturned furniture, no broken glass. Nothing seemed out of place, except for one thing. On the dining table, a half-eaten apple sat beside a bowl of fresh fruit. It was perfectly ordinary, except no one in the family was known to leave food unfinished. They moved through the quiet house, their footsteps echoing in the stillness. They went upstairs. The beds were all neatly made, the blankets pulled up tight to the pillows, as if no one had slept in them at all. The children's clothes for the day were laid out on their chests, ready to be worn. Their school books were stacked on a small desk. Everything was in its place, perfectly ordered, as if the family had simply vanished into thin air between one moment and the next. The authorities were called. They searched the house from top to bottom, then the yard, the cellar, the small barn out back. They found nothing. No note, no clues, no sign of a forced entry, and no sign of a hurried departure. The family's money was still in a jar in the kitchen. Their clothes were all in the closets. The food was in the pantry. It was as if they had been erased from their own home. Investigators were baffled. They interviewed everyone in the town. No one had seen anything, heard anything. The family had no known enemies. They were well-liked, quiet people who kept to themselves. Weeks turned into months, and months into years. The town whispered theories. Some said they ran away to start a new life, but no one could explain why they would leave everything behind. Others spoke of darker things, of a silent, unseen visitor who came in the night. The house was eventually sold, but no family ever stayed long. They complained of a persistent chill that never left, of the feeling of being watched by unseen eyes, of a silence that was too deep, too empty. This story became a local legend, a ghost story told on dark nights. But the facts remain. A family of 6 disappeared from a locked house without a trace, leaving behind a perfectly ordinary life, frozen in time. Investigators never found an answer, and sometimes, even now, when you walk past that old house on a quiet evening, you can almost feel the weight of the question that still hangs in the air, a secret kept within its silent walls. What happened in the dark, and who or what was watching from the shadows? Thanks for watching. If you enjoy stories from the shadows of history, be sure to subscribe and follow for more.